I'm certainly not expecting to, but when can you expect crashes and massacres on the stock exchange? That's really difficult to expect, right? I think we are in certainly more volatile times than we've experienced in the past few years. There is some uncertainty about monetary policy going on in the US. So we would have expected actually. At my house, we would have expected or we would have hoped for the Fed to increase interest rates already in September. We haven't seen that, so there's some uncertainty there going on. And then we have out of emerging markets, we have some uncertainty over the market, but at the same time, I think that the recovery in Europe is doing fine overall. We see some growth in the US too, and I think we have to look at emerging markets on a very like separate levels for each markets. So if we put that all together, I think there might be some volatility to come, but our overall view remains rather positive on the market.
Does it mean that you expect October to be a growth month, if you will, meaning that we're going to experience some bounce back after the recent corrections? Speaking of the major markets.
So I think we could certainly see some bounce backs. I wouldn't completely rule that out. But at the same time, as I said, I think the long-term view is what really counts. So valuations are a little bit down from the correction, from the big correction that we've seen in August. So I think equity prices are a little bit more attractive. They're certainly not very cheap from our point of view, but they're more attractive than before. So when we will see some bounce backs or some short-term moves is really not, I would say, the target of our investments, but it's a long-term view, and that's where we stick to a positive view.
What are the positives? You've mentioned some glimpses of hope or green shoots, if you will. So in a nutshell, what are the positives? What should drive the growth or potential growth? And on the other hand, what are the opposites, the downsides of the current market, or more generally, the global economy?
Right. I think the really positive thing that we see at the moment is very strong consumers in the US, especially, but also increasingly in Europe. We see very strong consumption numbers out of Germany. Private consumption is doing well. Consumers are getting more positive in terms of their spending habits. I think we also see within Europe, not only Germany doing better, but also Spain doing a lot better. We see some improvement there. And we see in the...
Do you believe this Spain recovery story? Because there are dissenting opinions or dissenters, if you will, that say this is just yet another bubble or an illusion. So what's your take on Spain?
I think what Spain really did quite well in comparison to other markets in Europe is, I mean, the crash has been very hard, but at the same time, they also moved rather quickly with consolidating banks, with trying to get bad credit out of the balance sheets of banks, and really to restructure these sectors that could hold back the markets for a very long time. And they moved very quickly on that. So I think that's the improvement that we see right now, and to be quite clear, it's just an improvement. It's not that the situation is not extremely positive with this high unemployment numbers, and there's a lot to do. But we see green shoots, and if you don't move that quickly, and we see that in certain other markets where you have bad credit on bank balance sheets that holds back new investments, that keeps small and medium-sized companies from getting loans. So this is really that's a drag on the economy for a very long time, and I think Spain moved there a lot quicker than other countries. So that's what brings me to this positive opinion.